Hi friends, it's Jean and I'm back at my craft desk and I'm so excited to share with you my completed travel album for our trip to Amsterdam and Brussels in spring of 2023. And I loved putting this together with the 2024 travel collection from Ali Edwards. It was a great collection and it worked so well with my whole album. So I am going to share a flip through of the final album with you. So on the cover for the Starburst album, I added this plastic piece from the main kit, Wherever You Go, Go With All Your Heart. And then I added a puffy heart from my stash and just stapled that onto the plastic piece and adhered it to the front with red line tape. And this sentiment is going to be a repeated sentiment throughout my album. So I really liked adding that onto the front. And now we'll start with the album and go through our little flip through. So you saw me put together a bunch of these pages, but now you'll be able to see them all together. So I made my title page using one of the Starburst papers from the Travel Papers pack, the 7 by 8.25 size. And then I added one of the large die cuts from the die cut pack, I Want to Go Everywhere With You. And then I added a photo of my husband and I from the trip and layered that. And then a little puffy sticker from my stash with a windmill, which I thought was perfect since we went to Amsterdam on our trip. And then after I created this with you, I added a little stamped sentiment, so thankful for this trip. I thought that looked really good there as a subhead. And then I added the J and the D for Jean and Doug and the ampersand from the thin puffy sticker alpha sheet. And I love the way that sort of completed the whole page. So this is the start to my album. And then on the next page, I have this memories page using this paper from the Travel Papers pack. And then I added pictures from each of our stops along the way, and I cut those, I believe it's with a 1.75 inch punch. And you will have seen me put this together too. So this is us on our canal cruise in Amsterdam, me with the tulips, my husband in Antwerp, this is Bruges, and then the two of us in Brussels, Doug with a big beer and me with my Aperol Spritz. And then I used 3 of the embellishments from the kit. The Wander Further was from the die cut pack. The Travel Vibes pleather sticker was from the main kit, and this chipboard was from the chipboard set. And then I also stamped the best parts with the best parts stamp from this collection, and then the dates of our trip at the top. And I think this is a great way to lead into the album. And then I started with our travel day, and I used this travel story, which was a card from the main kit. I cut Ready, Set, Go out of one of the travel plastic tags that were an add-on, and then I added another plastic tag to this picture of the view from the plane that said Catching the Flight, and I thought that was perfect here. And then throughout my album, you'll see this repeated element of me using washi tape from the kit and then layering over one of the perforated word phrase strips on top, and that'll be a repeated element throughout the album. And then on the back part of this, it's the rest of our travel day, and I added again another Ready, Set, Go heart. This one I cut out from a vellum 3x4 card from the main kit, and then I layered over the word phrase on the washi here. This was a picture of what I was watching on the plane. And then on this view of us landing, I did what I do on the plane chipboard from the chipboard set. And then I did my journaling for this day on this Here We Go journaling card, which was actually from the Outdoorsy mini kit. And then I stamped Bring On the Vacation and layered on a little chipboard circle geotag, which is another repeated element from in this album, and this is from my stash. And then we go into, I have 4 sections, as you saw me do, one for each of the cities we visited. And for each section, I created these transparencies using these 3x4 tags from the Outdoorsy mini kit. There were 8 of them, so I used 2 front to back for each section. And on the front, I stamped with the Travel Alpha stamp set the name of the city, and I just tried to space it in the middle so that it would look the best on the tag, and added twine from my stash. And then the back of this one, I stamped Go See and Savor from the Go and See stamp kit, 6x8 stamp that was in this collection. And then each section starts with a full page photo, and I use these large circle die cuts from the die cut pack on 3, I believe there were 3 of them, so I used them on 3 of the photos that are starting the different sections of the trip. And then I used again one of those circle chipboard geotags and stapled that on for some texture. And then on the back of this one, I used one of the felt geotags, large geotags, which were also from the main kit. I love how those look. And I was planning to add those onto full page photos. I ended up losing one of them while I was creating my album. I still haven't found it. So I only used 2 of these in the project, but they look great. And I layered over them some of the chipboard black word phrases that were also in the main kit. I love this picture of me on the first day in the canals. And so then I'm leading into our Amsterdam section, and you saw me put together the whole Amsterdam section, and you'll see that for each section I did similar things. So again, I have on the 3x4 photos, I have the repeated treatment of the word phrase perforated strip over the washi tape, and then I added a staple. And then for each section, I use these piece of the story cards for my journaling, and I often write my journaling front to back. I have no problem with that. So I use tabs from the tab sticker add-on to show that you could pull this tag out to look at the front and back. And I love the way that looks. And then I also added the date right above a piece of the story in the little starburst. And then I usually add sort of a title card to these 3x4 pocket pages. So I used the bike vellum from the main kit. I loved that for Amsterdam because there were so many bikes. And then I added this chipboard from the Outdoorsy mini kit chipboard set. And then on the back, I added another chipboard from that set. I added this one outside the page protector just so it didn't add too much bulk. And then again, the word phrase sticks and the washi. Here I put a word phrase stick with a puffy geotag sticker from my stash, and these will also be a repeated element in my album. You'll see a bunch of these, and the colors match perfectly with this kit. And so then I am going into our second day in Amsterdam. I added a title quote card from the main kit. And then another repeated element I do is I took the long phrase strips from the die cut pack, and I cut them down a little. They were a little bit longer so that they would center in the middle. And then I have adhered those on a bunch of the 4x6 photos in my album. You can see I did that again here. And then again, I have the piece of the story journaling card here with the date. This one I didn't write on the back, so there's no tab. And then I added this chipboard from the chipboard set with the anchors for our canal cruise, which I thought was perfect. And I layered on a perforated word strip and one of the puffy geotag stickers. And then on this page of this bike with the cheese, I love that little vignette. I added one of the pleather stickers from the main kit, and I love how these colors work really well together here. Then on the back of this, I added one of the plastic tags, and you'll find this again as a repeated element. I add a lot of these to my full page photos, and I layered over a chipboard black word with some twine from my stash. And then there were 4 of these documenting this adventure 4x6 cards in the kit, so I added one for each of the 4 sections for the 4 cities. And so I did my journaling on that, and then on each of them I had stamped memories from the best part stamp of documenting this adventure. And again, I have the washi with the word phrase strip, and then I took die cut circles that were from the die cut pack, and I added the stamp, wherever you go with all your heart from the best part stamp, and then layered over a chipboard heart from my stash. And so you'll find that to be another repeated element throughout the album. And I love the way that looks going off the edge of the photo. And then on the back of this one, I added a vellum quote card from the kit with, again, one of the puffy geotag stickers, photo of my husband and I just found these chipboards that said me and you and thought those were fun to add as well. And then on this photo of the canal, I added a plastic tag from the plastic tag kit. I adhere that with red line tape, and you can see the red line tape a little bit through that, but I'm okay with that. And then just some twine from my stash. And then on the back of this large photo, I used this Wanderlust gold foil word from the die cut pack. I love how that fit right above the photo of me with the tulips. And then I added a vellum card here with the Travel Vibes pleather circle in the middle. And then I love how the reds work well in sort of a visual triangle here on this page. And then another thing you'll see I've added to some of my 4x6 photos are these gold foil word phrase banners that were also in the large die cut kit. And I put this one going off the side. So I actually love the way this page worked. And then on the back of this is the last part of that day. I used a journaling card from my stash and to just describe what we did that day. A black word phrase chipboard and the washi and perforated strip. And then I'm going into our tulip day. And I love the way this Wander Farther pleather circle worked with the colors on this page. It pulls in my jacket and the pink here, and then of course the tulips. I think that looks really pretty. And then I layered over again one of the chipboard geotag circles. And then on the back page of this, I again added a plastic tag from the plastic tag set. And then I cut out this 5-star rating from another one of the tags, and I just adhered it onto this tag with red line tape and twine from my stash. And then this is where I created the pocket with you all to hold these tags for my story of the tulips. And then in the center here, I have put in a 3x8 page protector about our evening that day, just with a photo of my husband and I, and this eat card was from my stash. And then I added a puffy sticker from, I believe it was like a foodie puffy sticker sheet here and here. So this pocket I created with you when I did my creative play, and I used a vellum Starburst card from the main kit. I adhered that onto this background pattern paper that was from the add-on travel paper pack with red line tape. And then I used these 3 tags that were from the May Stories by the Month kit this year, and I put photos on the front and back, my journaling on this one with the date and a chipboard flower, another photo with the word phrase on top, and then more photos. And I really love how this turned out. I was able to add more photos and add an interactive element, and I think the ribbons really pull in all the colors really well together. So that turned out really fun. And then on the back of this page, as you go into Antwerp, I also created this page with some ephemera from my trip. These were actually the printed tickets I had for a bunch of our events and a train trip. So I cut out these labels from one of the 7.8x25 travel papers and adhered them onto another background paper that was from my stash. And then I added enamel dots from my stash tone on tone to match the colors. And I think that added some really nice texture there. And then I just layered on 2 little word phrase stickers. But I love how this is sort of a resting place going into the next section and to hold some of the ephemera about some of the items we did on our trip. So then I go into the Antwerp section, and again I added the 3x4 tag on the front with Antwerp stamped with the travel alphas, and then on the back of this one I stamped travel vibes from one of the 6x8 stamp sets, and I stamped this in the Redwoods ink on the back there. And then as we go into Antwerp, I have a full page photo of me in front of a museum from Antwerp. It was really cool. We took an escalator all the way up and it was a beautiful view of the city. And I added again one of these large die cut circles layered over with one of the chipboard geotag circles from my stash. And then on the back of this one, I added a tag, but this is a chipboard tag from the chipboard set, Take Only Memories, Leave Only Footprints, of my husband in the castle, in front of the castle in Antwerp. And then you'll see as I go through this that I do a very similar treatment. I have the title card, which was a vellum here. I have my journaling card, and again, I wrote on the back. So I've added this tab sticker on top and the date that we were in Antwerp on the first day here. And again, the repeated element of the perforated word phrase strips and the washi tape. And then on the back, I added another one of the puffy geotag stickers, this treatment, and then again, another one of these die cut circles with wherever you go, go with all your heart on this picture of the cathedral. And then I added, this is a card from my stash I've had a long time. We did a Rick Steves walk in Antwerp, so I thought that was perfect for that. Again, with one of the puffy geotag stickers. And then on this picture of the main plaza, I added So Much to See, which was one of the black chipboard phrases from the main kit. And then on the back of this one, this is just a card from my stash, and I added a chipboard from the Outdoorsy mini kit. I have the 4x6 journaling card where I stamped memories on top, and on this one I also added the date. And then I had a bunch of more photos from this one, so I added a 4x6 page protector to add some more photos. And again, I added one of the large die cut phrases from the die cut pack onto this 4x6 photo. And then on the back, I added one of the chipboards from the main kit. This was a vellum card from the main kit, and I layered over this Go Craft wonky circle that was from the die cut pack. And I love how the craft pulls in the craft from this page here. So this is the collage page I made with the ephemera from Antwerp. And I really love how this turned out. Looking at it, it looks super fun. I added washi tape here sort of to hold on these tickets. I created a little flip out with my key card holder. I stamped memories on the front from that Best Part stamp. Added one of the tab stickers so you know you could open it. And then it's got a picture from our view from the hotel, a chipboard, what I do in the hotel, which was from the main kit chipboard. And this chipboard circle was from the Outdoorsy mini kit. And then I have two of the black chipboard phrases from the main kit, which add a nice visual triangle with this one here. So that page turned out really fun. And then on the back of this, I created this page. This background circle paper was from the Travel Papers pack. And I thought it was a nice resting spot between the photo heavy section and going into the next section for Bruges. So I found this plastic circle sticker from my stash. I believe this was from the Wander Story kit. And I layered over an adventure large die cut from the die cut pack. And then I stamped 2 hearts from one of the large stamp sets in Honeyman and Redwoods ink, and then layered those on top. And I love how that pulls in all the colors here. So as I go into the Bruges section, I stamped Bruges with the Travel Alpha stamp and used one of the tags. And then on the back, I stamped "This part was amazing" and a heart from one of the stamp sets. And this was in the, this is the green ink, and this is Redwoods again. And then again, you'll see as I go into Bruges, I added one of the large die cut circles, again layered over with a chipboard circle geotag from my stash. I love this photo going under the bridge. I think that looks really nice. And I love how the die cut fit really perfectly on top there. And then on the back of this one, I again added a plastic tag from the tag set onto this photo. This is one of my favorite photos of the trip, of me in front of the canal in Bruges with the cathedral in the background. And then you'll see the similar as I go into the 3x4 pocket page with the title card using a puffy geotag sticker, the journaling card with the date stamped, and then the 2 photos with the washi and perforated word strips. And then on the back of this, I added 3 more photos, this same treatment, a word chipboard from the main kit, and then this eat card is also from my stash. We did stopped and got chocolate and had a fun snack and drink along the canal, and it was really lovely. And then again, I added a page protector with 2 4x6 front back using my journaling card here with memories stamped, and this same treatment where I took a die cut circle and stamped "Wherever you go, go with all your heart," and a chipboard heart from my stash. And then on the back, I have 2 more photos. It was so beautiful in Bruges. Added a black chipboard and then one of the gold foil banner die cuts from the die cut pack. So then we're going into our last stop, which was Brussels. And again, I stamped Brussels on the front with the Travel Alphas. On the back here, I did Wander, Repeat, and Go, and then used a asterisk from the Alpha stamp in the middle there. And this was with Honeyman ink, and that matches really well with this felt geotag, the other one I used. And again, I layered over a black chipboard from the main kit. And this is my other favorite photo of me from the trip in the Grand Place with my Aperol Spritz, just having a wonderful time. And then on the back of this, I added a photo of my husband and I at a really fabulous dinner. And you'll remember that this is the photo that I added on the first page, the title page. And I don't mind using this again. I printed it a little different orientation, and it's one of my favorite photos, so I think it works fine. Then I added one of the plastic tags from the tag add-on set, and again, one of the 5 stars that I cut out from another one of the tags. And then I'm going into our Brussels with a vellum quote card, the 2 photos with the same treatment here, my journaling, and again I wrote front back, so I added one of the tab stickers. I really love those tab stickers. Those are one of my favorite products. And I stamped, let me get that in there, stamped the date on it. On the back I added 3 more photos with the word phrase strips, a black chipboard, and a quote card. And again I used one of the chipboard geotag circles. As we go into this day, I again used one of the banner gold foil from the die cut pack. I love these pictures of the Grand Place at night. It was so pretty. Again, this treatment with the wherever you go, go with all your heart on the half circle, and my journaling on this card. And again, I journaled front back, so you can take that out and then slip it back in. On the back of this, we're going into I believe this was our last day. Yes, this was our last day. So I used a vellum quote card, again with the puffy geotag. This one I added just a little heart plastic tag, and I cut the bottom off so it fit better there, and layered on one of the perforated word strips from the main kit, and then a chipboard from the main kit. And then I have 3 photos here with the washi and word phrases, this same treatment with the circle die cut and stamping, and then another one of these walk cards from my stash, because again we did a Rick Steves walk in Brussels, and then one of the puffy geotag stickers. And then on the back of this, I'm talking about the food that we ate in Brussels. The food in Brussels is just incredible. So I used these 2 cards, and this chipboard are from the Foodie collection, which was a past Ali Edwards collection. And I love to use that often in travel albums when I'm talking about the food during the travel. So I used this to write my journaling. I used this same treatment, and I loved how this said favorite travel snacks here, because that worked great for the frites. The frites in Brussels are so good with all these different sauces. And then I created this 2x2 pocket page to talk about all the food we ate in Brussels. And then on the back, I do our chocolate tour. So I used these gold foil alpha 2x2s that were in the Outdoorsy mini kit to spell yum on the front, and then photos of the different food we ate. And then I added a plastic tag and 2 circles. This was a pleather circle from the main kit and a die cut circle, and then I layered over just a puffy heart there. And I love how that turned out. And then on the back, we did a chocolate tour, and this was all the different chocolate ateliers we went to. So I had snapped pictures of each. I printed those out. I used the word bon here for bon means good in French, but it's also kind of works with bonbon, which I thought was super fun. You do have to be careful with these letters because there's only one of each, so you can't repeat letters in your words. And then another pleather circle, and then one of these die cut circles with the stamp and the heart. And I really love how this page turned out, and was able to add more pictures of our food. And then our last evening, we went and had moule frite. So I added the washi and the perforated word sticker, another chipboard word, my journaling on the 4x6 card, and this one I wrote on the back of the 4x6 card, so I added the tab at the top. And then of course I've done my stamping with memories and the date of that. And then we go into just sort of the ending, the final wrap-up pages. I added a vellum card from the main kit and layered over some paper from my stash. On this photo of our view leaving, I added the Starburst plastic tag with chipboard layered on top. And then I used this Saw, Heard, Ate, Bought, Loved to talk about some of the highlights of our trip. Saw so many amazing sights and landmarks, heard lots of people talking and laughing, ate delicious food, bought wooden tulips and magnets and lots of chocolate, loved traveling with my best friend in new cities. So I love how that turned out. And then I did this best parts. I used this best parts paper from the paper kit to highlight 5 things I wanted to remember from the trip. And so I used stamps. These 4 stamps were from the collection. This one was from my stash that says, "Come on, ride the train," and then wrote about 5 things I wanted to remember from the trip. I really like how I used different pen weights on these 2 pages because I think it adds some nice differentiation there in texture. And then I cut up one of the die cut phrases, oh, the places you'll go, added that at the top with the dates of the trip, and then layered on a chipboard geotag circle from my stash. And then on the very back, I used this So Thankful for This Trip pattern paper from the pattern paper add-on. I added this chipboard tag from the chipboard set where you could select all the different modes of transportation you use, which I thought was really fun. And we used every one but the rickshaw, so that was kind of cool. And then some twine from my stash. So I really love how this album turned out. And I look forward to sharing more projects with you in the future.